welcome.
Hi, welcome to Historia.
What a day to be alive, Kylie.
It is indeed. It's a night to be alive, because it's night.
Ooh, spooky.
We're sitting in the dark.
We have one single lamp.
And a lit up, like, candle wax melter thing. What do you call it?
It smells great.
Wax melter?
Oh, yeah.
It's very dark in here, but it's kind of nice.
Yes, it sets the mood.
Yes, even though we're out of Halloween season.
I still consider it Halloween.
I do. This is when some people start celebrating Christmas.
I can't.
Too early for that.
It is. I try not to decorate before Thanksgiving, but like every year I just keep tempting myself more and more to decorate before Thanksgiving. I can't help it.
I mean, I decorated for Halloween on September 1st, so...
I did not.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
I waited the good month. Ow.
Yeah, I like Christmas, but I get more into Halloween for some reason.
I think it's just like, I'm really bad this year. Last year I tried to watch a Halloween movie every single day.
Yeah.
It's just been hard this year. Like there's so much going on that I haven't been able to. Mm-hmm. I've only watched one. It was My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, interesting.
It was bad, but it was like great because I love Jensen Ackles.
I watched Hocus Pocus like twice, and then I watched what's it called? The ones where they made 3 movies.
Oh, Fear Street.
Yeah, Fear Street.
You did get through all of them.
No.
What?
I'm on the 3rd one now.
Oh.
But I watched the 2nd one. So I've also just like haven't had time to watch TV.
Yeah, it's hard during the week
Mm-hmm.
when you have a full-time job.
Yeah, so this weekend though, like I'm planning on just like watching some Halloween flicks. But anyway, you guys are already in November.
Merry
when
Christmas.
This is posted. So yeah, Merry Christmas. It's my birthday month, so
hey, gonna get ready.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh God, it's gonna be another one of birthday specials.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yikes. Yeah, because my birthday's on a Tuesday.
Oh boo.
So I have to do either the weekend after or the weekend before.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Dude, that sucks. Birthdays during the week suck.
I know.
I can't.
I think I'm gonna take it off work though. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna take it off because why not?
I did.
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing. I got my hair done all day.
I love that.
It took me like at least 3 hours.
That's crazy.
I also got my eyebrows waxed, so I'm a waxer.
Yep.
Alrighty, so on today's, I have no, I guess, transition into today's topic. Sadness.
Only thing I can say is, like, this exhausted me researching it.
Yeah? Was there a lot?
There's a lot, but also I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I just can't believe that it's, like, true.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I got to, because I've been researching it for, like, 3 days. Mm-hmm. Because I'm like, I want, like, as many details as I can get, but then I get to a point where I'm like, I don't want to know anything else.
It's devastating.
Yeah, so.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about Columbus.
Gross.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Monday was Columbus Day for us.
Right.
We're recording this. Hey.
Indigenous People Day, that's what I call it.
Indigenous? It is.
Because
I think some states celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, and then other states.
Yeah. It's becoming more, like, well-known, I think.
Yeah.
As it, but there's still some people that are like, Columbus is a hero. And it's like, no. Think again.
Think again.
But anyway, you guys are going to learn all about that.
Yay.
We're going to jump on in. We're going to take a deep, deep dive. I'm going to roast the hell out of this guy.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully.
How far back we talking?
So, we're going all the way to the 15th and 16th centuries. Now, at this time, we had leaders of several European nations that sponsored expeditions abroad, and their hopes were that explorers would find great wealth and vast undiscovered lands. But mostly, they just wanted some gold. So let's be honest. Portuguese was one of the earliest participants in the Age of Exploration, as they call it. I'm teaching this soon. I'm teaching about explorers, early explorers.
Who's on your list?
I haven't looked at everything yet.
Cortez is probably going to be on there.
Yeah, I think Cortez there. But yeah. Well, no, we already talked about Cortez.
Gross.
So we are jumping right after that because we did Mesoamerica.
Okay.
And now we're doing early explorers, so.
Do you think you're going to talk about Ferdinand and Isabella?
Probably.
I want to cover them.
What I'm doing, but yeah.
I want to do a deep dive into them because
that'd be fun.
They're all sorts of fucked up. Just telling you, Spain and Portugal, like, their family trees are just like, we all know the Habsburgs.
Hot mess.
Honestly.
I wrote Christopher Columbus, ew, as the title of this. By the way, if you, like, love Christopher Columbus, you do not want to listen to this, maybe. Or you do to actually get educated. But I know there are people who, like, truly love him.
Why?
I don't know. But just rethink how you're feeling, maybe? I don't know.
I think my only, like, thought to, like, why people could support it is that, oh, well, it developed, like, what we have now.
Right.
But it's like, that's still no excuse.
It's no excuse. Right. I agree. Okay. Well, let's jump on in. I'm going to put my hood on.
Ooh, getting real cozy.
All my hoods are, like, too big for my head. Okay. I'm wearing a hood, guys. It's getting real. All right. So Christopher Columbus was born in 1451. He grew up in Italy, lived in Spain years later, and he went by Cristobal Colombo. Colombo. Nerd. Okay. Anyway. He was the oldest of 5, and he worked closely with his brothers in adulthood, which we hear about his brothers later on. They all worked together. Okay, it's getting hot. All right. The hood is off already. Anyway, so he actually completed all his education at an early age, and then he was like, what should I do now? So then he was like, let's just try sailing. So he started sailing at a pretty young age, and he was on different trading trips. So in 1476, he traveled to Portugal, and he set up a map-making business with his brother Bartholomew.
That's a very common name.
Yes.
I've run into 2 in my subject for next week, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Something about that name, I guess.
Barty.
Don't they just go by Bart?
No one's named that anymore.
Oh, okay. 1479, we're jumping 3 years. He married a woman named Felipa Peristrello Monez. And she was the daughter of the governor of Portuguese Island. Oh. So he's like, oh, got the girl. We're doing good. They had one child. His name was Diego. And he was born in 1480. But then, a few years later, boom! Felipa had died. His wife is gone.
Of what?
I don't know.
Probably disease.
Yeah, I'm guessing. So then he actually ended up having another son with a woman named Beatrice Enrique de Arana.
Scandalous.
Very scandalous, but it was after she died, so.
It's okay.
And his second son's name is Fernando.
Fernando
and Diego. Gotta love it. Here's the situation. That's what I wrote. Here's the situation, guys. 1450s. Turkish Empire controlled northern Africa. And it blocked Europe and its earliest access to different valuable goods of the Orient. One of the biggest one was spices.
Of course.
Gotta have the spices for your food.
Because all they had was salt.
Exactly. They're like, gotta get some better shit in here. So they're like, well, let's go. So people were looking for a new way to get to the area that would be less dangerous and time consuming. And so then they're like, maybe we could try exploring the sea. That's something new. I feel like it's still time consuming, but
it is. It
that's
really
just me.
is.
Because then you have to figure out like a new route and like that's just a lot of work.
It takes a while too. Mm-hmm. Especially if you get lost. Like, ugh.
Yeah. So Portugal, in specifics, I'm trying to say Portugal specifically was looking for a route around the southern tip of Africa. And they wanted to eventually round the Cape of Good Hope, which was in 1488. So Columbus gets involved in this because he sees that many people have like tried to say that the Earth is huge, and he doesn't believe that it is as big as people say.
Is he a flat earther? Do we have a flat earther?
So he didn't specifically. I don't think he admitted it, but I think like he was the original flat earther.
Columbus, you heard it here. Columbus is the original flat earther.
Yeah, because like there were people who had really good estimations, and it's kind of funny because the people who estimated like how big the Earth was, they were actually more accurate than him. So they were actually accurate. Like he stepped in for no reason. Like he had no business to just jump in and be like, "It's actually smaller, guys.
You guys are wrong. Let me show you."
Right?
How ironic.
I know. And so he was like really intrigued by this idea of like when people are saying like the Earth is smaller than we might think. He was like, I think that's right, and I'm going to figure this out by sailing around it. So he's like trying to show off and be like, I'm a sailor.
Oh my God.
So.
And you know what? He's just that kind of guy too, that once he like, even though he's wrong, he's just like, well, then look what I discovered. Like, isn't it so great? Like, you guys have to praise me for this.
Right. It's like, hey, look at all this shit you did. And he's like, yeah, but I discovered this. And it's like, okay, relax. But anyway.
You discovered nothing.
So he gets very invested into this idea of exploring and reaching Asia by traveling west instead of circling the continent. So he's like, we can just take the sea. We'll get to Asia. Most people knew the Earth was round, but people just didn't know how big it was.
Yeah.
And I said most people because we know Columbo, I'm going to call him that because that's his other name. Columbo thought it was flat.
So he thought they were just going to fall off the Earth?
I guess. I don't know what he was expecting, honestly. So there was a Greek mathematician and astronomer who first calculated the size of the Earth in 240 BCE. But the numbers had never been proven. So that's kind of what also inspired him, because he was like, we have these numbers in place that like are estimations, but nobody's ever proven them. So I'm going to go prove it. Because, again, the numbers are too large. And he thought that the vast landmass of Asia would shrink due to the amount of sea travel. So if he takes the sea, then it's going to be a quicker way to get there.
Yeah.
But also it wouldn't be as big as we think. So he's really focused on Asia. Anyway.
He's obsessed.
Yeah. So he actually calculated the Earth to be 66% smaller than previous calculations.
Holy shit. That's a big amount.
And like I said, the people that estimated before him were actually more spot on.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's just funny.
Can you reach your own nose?
Nisselas?
I can't. I don't know.
His idea. Wow. It's because I did like half cursive, half print. Okay.
Oh God.
Columbus presented his idea to Portugal in 1483, and he was like, guys, I'm going to explore, I'm going to take the sea, I'm going to go to Asia, it's going to be awesome, the Earth is so small, and they were like, no, you ain't.
No, you ain't.
So, he got rejected.
They're like, we're not giving you anything.
He's like, get the fuck out of here.
Move along.
So then he's like, fine, I'll go to Spain. So he goes to Spain, who, at the time, is ruled by the monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella. We're going to jump into at a different time.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm not going to, but I think one day we might.
Oh yeah, I want to cover them because they're all sorts of fucked up.
Oh yeah. And so he goes to them and he's like, hey guys, so I have this idea, like I'm going to go to Asia and all this, and he presents his idea, and they actually grant him a salary and a position in the Spanish court. They're like, hell yeah, bro, let's go. So, in April of 1492, Columbus's plan receives approval. He sets sail from the Canary Islands in September 1492. He was riding a big-ass ship. That's what I wrote. He's riding a big-ass ship called the Caravel, which is a Portuguese ship.
Oh.
Known as the Santa Maria. That's the name of his ship.
James can name all of them.
Really?
I could not.
Impressive. I just go, that's a boat. That's a ship. That's a ship. All right.
What's the difference?
Between a boat and a ship?
Yeah.
I have no idea, do you?
What? No.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know. There's vessel.
Right, there's a vessel, battleship.
At least they think of the game.
I know, that's what I'm trying to think of. Carrier. Trying to think of the ships in the game.
Oh, submarine.
Submarine, carrier, battleship, destroyer.
Oh, yeah. That's all I know. I thought there was only like 5, weren't there?
I think we said them all. I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't played Battleship in a hot minute.
They should do a version of all of Columbus's ships, like him and his crew. You could just
God.
sink their ships. All right. So there are 2 other ships that went with him, called the Nina and the Pinta, and they carried 90 crew members. Dang. So lots of people were with him. So on October 12th, 1492, landed on a small island in the Caribbean Sea that Columbus called San Salvador. And this is where Columbus Day comes from, which is the second Monday in October, also known as Indigenous People Day.
Rep.
Yeah. And this one decision of coming onto this land led to centuries of colonization of the Americas by European natives while bringing violence, disease, and death to Indigenous people. So this is just the beginning. Oh. And I'm going to get in more detail of it later. But he gets there and he's like, I feel like I've arrived in the East Indies. And so he comes across some Native Americans who were gentle and primitive. He even like explained like in his writings that they were like the sweetest, like most welcoming people that he's ever met.
It's so sad.
Yeah. And so him and his crew come towards them and they get quickly mistreated by all of the Europeans that are around them. And so when they actually ended up leaving San Salvador, and again, I'm going to get more into detail about all of that, but when they start leaving San Salvador, the crew traveled along the coast of Cuba and Hispaniola, which is, Hispaniola is going to be like the area that is present-day countries of Haiti and Dominican Republic, so it's in that area. So that is what I mean by Hispaniola, but this is the area that he was in.
Yeah.
So on Christmas Eve of that year, Santa Maria crashed into a reef
Go figure.
off of Haiti. Yeah. And
that poor reef.
I know.
Oh, it had so many fishes.
I know. I thought of that too. I was like, poor little fishies.
We care more about animals than we do people.
Yeah, I figured that out about myself a while ago. Marley and Me. I watched that movie and I was like,
I can't.
Nope.
Dude, A Dog's Purpose. I cry every time.
That one is so good.
Every time. My mom, when I was still living with my parents, I was watching it upstairs and my mom came up and I was just crying because it got to the, when the German Shepherd canine died.
Yeah.
And I was just crying because I couldn't stop. I was emotional for that. And she filmed it.
Oh. That's okay.
She was just laughing. She was like, why are you crying? I was like, I don't know. This is just so
It's an
great.
emotional movie.
I can't watch dog movies like that. I can't do Where the Red Fern Grows. Can't do it. I can't do Marley and Me. And I can't do Dog's Purpose because there's too many cute dogs in that movie.
Yeah, there's a corgi in it.
I know, he's so cute.
Yeah, that movie's so good. I haven't watched the second one though.
It's pretty good. Huh. I didn't cry at that one.
Is it the same story?
It follows like the daughter.
Oh, okay.
Or like the granddaughter of like the guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he like the dog spirit just like follows her around in like different lives as she gets older.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's cute.
It's good. I saw it in theater. I don't remember who I went with. I think it was my mom. It. Yeah.
Fair.
It's when I still worked at the movie theater and I got in for free.
Good times.
Never work in a movie theater.
Hey, it's better than fast food.
It's true.
Like, if you're gonna have a first job, do that, but...
I mean, you smell like popcorn all the time.
But you get free popcorn.
I don't eat popcorn anymore because of that.
See, I never got tired of it.
Jeez.
I thought I would, but I never did.
I refuse to eat hot dogs.
That's fair. Well, that's understandable.
They're nasty.
We would, like... Our hot dog machine that was at the movie theater would, like, make the hot dogs just fly in the air once they were cooked. And so then sometimes we'd, like, step on hot dogs.
Well, the machines were always broken.
Yeah.
But
they always got wrinkly.
I do admit, though, that our, where we worked at the theater, I didn't know that it was a common thing at different theaters that they would pre-pop the popcorn at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Into the morning. We would always do it fresh.
Right.
And that's why we kept running out in the morning.
Yeah, like the second we opened, it was like, make popcorn.
It's like, would you rather have fresh popcorn but wait a little bit, or have freaking day-old popcorn that was in the back?
No, disgusting.
Just saying.
Yeah, I gotta have it fresh.
If you ever want to know about some of our stories, we got a lot of them.
So many.
So many.
I was in a very fun neighborhood with a lot of fun things that happened there. It was also right by our high school, so.
Oh, God.
Oh, what a mess. But yeah, okay, so Santa Maria crashes into a reef off of Haiti. And at this time, when this is happening, Columbus is like, oh, man, Santa Maria's gone. Okay. Now, while he's doing this, there's 40 men. I think it's 39 to be specific, but they remained at a fort to hunt for gold. And so they're over there basically trying to get gold from all of the Native Americans.
Yeah.
Because they saw that the Native Americans are wearing gold jewelry. And so they're like, you have more. I know you do. And they're like basically just tearing apart their tribes and trying to find gold. So
and
sweet.
they call them the savages.
I know. It's like insane. But they call them Indians just because of
they thought they were in India.
Yeah, the area that they're in, they thought they'd call it that. But that's where the name comes from. That's why it is very politically incorrect.
Yeah.
I guess I should say.
They're not in India.
They're not Indians. Don't call them Indians. They're not in India. Like, I'm just confused why we still haven't gotten past that phrase. Like, we just call them that.
Yeah.
And, like, I just, there's a lot of things that I just don't get about, like, the way that Native Americans are treated. And their culture is just so fascinating and, like...
Oh, I freaking love it.
I respect them so
That's
much.
why I covered the skinwalkers, because I know that one is a very taboo subject, but I just find it so fascinating because their culture, like how their stories,
right,
and how they connect with just nature in general is just, I love it. I think I love cultures that have a very strong connection with nature, because we need to have a connection with nature.
Yeah, there's so much we can learn from them.
Yeah, and these guys learn from experience that nature is a bitch and you don't want to mess with it.
Yep. And they tell us, and we listen to their advice. Like, it's just... And they're so, like, misrepresented. Like, I feel like we're getting to a point where, like, in movies and TV shows, we have, like, good diversity coming. Like, we're not at the point where we should be, but, like, we're getting to a better point.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just, like, white people on TV. But, like, you just don't see a lot of Native Americans.
No. God, they're so freaking pretty. I'm jealous of their hair.
They don't age.
They don't
beautiful.
age. I know. We age like freaking...
we're like, by the time we're 40, we have wrinkles everywhere.
I know.
And then they're like, oh, God, they're so pretty. They have the best hair. Oh, okay.
We're jealous.
Just starts bawling. I'll never be like them. All right. So they're hunting for gold. In other words, trying to destroy their tribes in order to find gold. Now, some of them did have gold, but of course they're not going to give it up. Like, they're not going to just be like, yeah, here you go.
No, it's probably sacred to them.
Exactly.
Of how they made it and got it.
Right. So Columbus takes the Nina and Pinta back to Spain and it basically announces his success. He's like, guys, I like totally discovered new land. I'm like the best. Like, he's just bragging about himself. And he even brings back some captive natives to prove that he achieved the goal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he's like, look what I brought. See? These are going to be our slaves. Like, and he completely invests in this idea that they need to have a slave trade going on. It's just a hot mess. So for everything, just, I mean, it's already crashing, but like, just the fact that he did that, like, see? Proof.
It's like you just uprooted them, and they're probably going to die in a matter.
Well, that's the thing. A few of them didn't even survive the trip back.
Yeah.
Because of how rough the sea was. Mm-hmm. Like, and obviously they're not used to being on the sea. Mm-hmm. Like, so many of them didn't survive. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't even the first European to land on that area. Like, everyone's always like, oh, he discovered the New World. He was not first. Mm-mm. Like, the Vikings reached the land several hundred years before him. Mm-hmm. And it was just like...
Leif Erikson. Mm-hmm. I believe I read that there was someone else that may have touched before the Vikings did. Because the Vikings were kind of just like a blip.
Yeah.
Of dropping off there. They just kind of like, they wanted to do some raiding.
Right.
Do some trading and then dip.
But they didn't like settle down.
No, they had no intentions to.
Yeah.
The Vikings, they never really had much intentions to really settle anywhere. They just wanted to pillage.
Well, at least they were before Columbus. They were still there before him. And also, like, their journey, the Vikings' journeys, like, the word about them didn't spread that much, right? Yeah. So, like, people don't actually know, like... Mm-mm. So...
They kind of, like, they didn't really keep to themselves, but they kind of kept, like, their... I guess they're trading to themselves. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to do Leif Erikson just to, like, explore more. There is so much.
Yeah.
So much war history, and it's just like, oh my god.
It's overwhelming.
It's never ending.
Yeah, and I guess it makes sense because, like, Europe, if you haven't been taught that message of, like, people have been here before, mm-hmm. people in Europe are just like, nobody's been to that area. And so they're going to believe that, like, Columbus is first. And it's wild.
We don't get taught a lot of European history because there's already so much, like, U.S. history.
Yeah.
But they don't even teach you, like, the good stuff. They teach you government.
Yeah. Fun times.
I freaking hated government. Love the teacher. Did not enjoy the subject.
I don't think I enjoyed it much either. It just confused me. I was like, ew. I don't care. I'm a teenager. Leave me alone. I feel like was there a class on, like, investing stocks?
Oh, I don't know. I took a current events class, though.
Maybe that's what it was.
I don't know. I had it with Mr. Miller.
Oh, okay. Mine was, like, with some old guy. And we kept an eye on the stock market.
What?
I don't know why. I don't know what the class was. Maybe? I don't remember. I just remember that.
My econ class, I don't know how I passed that, but my softball coach became the teacher, like, the middle of the semester, and all we did was talk about the iPhone 6.
Okay, that was mine too. Yeah. He was obsessed with Apple.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I just sat in the back with, like, 3 of my friends, and we just fucked around the entire semester.
Yeah. I did that too.
It wasn't until college when I had to take, like, a micro economics class that I was just like, I freaking hate econ. It's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, he really always used Apple as an example.
Every single day he did, and we're like, oh my god. We get it, bro. And we're, like, at the back talking about, like, when Ant-Man was coming out, we're like, oh my god, it's so cool.
And he's like, guys, did you see the new iPhone?
Yeah.
I don't know how we got here, but we got here. Anyway. Okay, so after his voyage, now we had some goods, people, and ideas being traded between multiple areas. Mm-hmm. Now that they're like, okay, we can travel going this way on the water. Okay. So he did help with creating, like, new routes to travel by sea, but that's the only credit I'm giving him. He didn't really even, like, someone else could have done that. Whatever. It's fine. Okay. So then he made 3 more trips, still searching for the mainland of Asia. Mm-hmm. He returned and led 17 ships with about 1,500 men back to the islands where he was appointed as governor. So now he's governor. And so he gets back to his land, Hispaniola.
Yeah.
He gets there. And remember when I mentioned there's 39 men that were there? Mm-hmm. They are completely gone. So he left them behind for a few months, but now they have disappeared. Now there's a Native American chief that comes up to Columbus, mm-hmm. and Columbus is like, what happened to my men? And he is just honest, and he said that as the chief, he killed them because they had lots of gold in their land. So in the Native American land and the way that they were invading it. They weren't taking it seriously when they told them to leave. So
disrespecting
right. So they're going to kill him. Like, what do you expect? You're breaking into their land? I don't know. It's a mess, but...
murder is always the answer for everybody.
Right. So he's like, yeah, we killed them, but we'll give you gold. Like, sorry, we kind of killed them, but like, we'll give you some gold, whatever. And so he's like, come to my land to get the gold. So then Columbus and his crew ends up going onto their territory and like basically like just not following the chief's orders and just like stepping over like the mark where he told them to stop walking. And so they just invade the entire territory. And so the chief is angered by this because he tells them like they can come with him, but they're not allowed to like invade or to act out in violence. So the chief is angered by the invaders, and so they end up fighting. And so in order to intimidate the chief and be like, I'm so much better than you, Columbus captured 3 of his captains.
Oh my god.
And then he beheads them in public.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Let that sink in.
Yeah.
He's a hero, as people say. Maybe. Like, when I was researching this, there were, like, fan pages for him.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, still? I'm confused. But anyway, this enraged the Taino tribe, obviously. They're beheading them. So soon, there's no gold left to mine because the Europeans are taking all of their gold. So they've invaded it. They found the quarry where they kept all the gold, and it's gone. So he basically writes a letter to Spain and is just like telling him all about his accomplishments. I put in air quotes, and he's just exaggerating the numbers. Like, we got this much gold from them. They killed hundreds of our men, and just like blew it out of proportion.
Yeah.
Trying to make him sound like a hero. So to produce more profit for the king and queen, Columbus came up with the idea to start a slave trade. And so this is when he's like, okay, we're going to make this happen, especially now. Like, that was the last straw. Like, they will be our slaves. So he didn't even wait for a response. He seized over 500 natives and sent them to Spain. Again, like, the king and queen never approved this. He just went for it.
So he's just doing stuff on his own.
Yeah. He thinks he's, like, the ruler of the world. Like, he's like, nobody can tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? The nerve! The nerve! Anyway, so most of the remaining natives who ended up not being sent to Spain, they fought about the injustice, obviously. And because of that, Columbus unleashed terror on them and kept bringing more to Spain. And so whenever they would try to act out or like fight for what they believe in, he would take the Tainos and take them with them to Spain.
That is like the worst time to do, because like,
yeah,
it's worse than just being like, honestly, I think it would be, if I were in that position, it would be worse to be taken than just killed on my land. Because you're probably going to die on this unknown object, this ship.
Right.
And then you're going to have these people who are trying to flaunt you and then try to make you into a slave. Like, I wouldn't want to live that. I would just want you to kill me and, like, let it be over with.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
It's torture at that point.
It is. It's really all torture. And so when he unleashed terror on them, he defeated them, basically, just by taking complete control out of their entire tribe. And they were forced to pay gold to the Spanish. The Spanish was like, you will die if you don't give us gold.
Jesus.
And, like, some of them are like, I don't have any. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but, like, you took it all. I have nothing. And so they'd immediately get killed. And at that point, I'm like, would you rather be a slave or get killed for not having gold? You know, like, it's just one of those things where, because they got killed in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Like, they would just kill them right there.
A public thing.
It's insane. And so, because of being forced to look for gold, they couldn't farm their lands anymore. They couldn't really focus on their culture anymore. Like, everything was just completely taken away from them. And so they even tried to escape. So many of them tried to escape, and they were hunted down. And 50,000 natives actually died of, these were the leading causes: starvation, suicide, disease, amputation, and war. Jeez. 50,000 natives, and that was right after all of this happened. So, like, I know it's not just Columbus, but, like, just being responsible for that many lives just because you wanted gold. Like, come on.
Did you ever watch the movie Apocalypto?
No.
I remember watching it freshman year of high school. It's not in English. It's honestly, it's a huge, and it looks at this indigenous tribe in that area, and it's pretty much, I think it was like the Aztec Empire. And this native gets taken from his like small tribe and brought to I think it's brought to the Aztecs like capital.
Yeah.
And pretty much he's trying to like survive. His wife is pregnant. She's in like this hole with like her little with her son.
Oh no.
And I'm just gonna like spoiler alert, still watch it. It's amazing. But at the very end you just see ships.
Oh.
Off in the distance. It's like they just got away with this and now
oh my god,
it's round 2.
That sounds so good. I need to watch
oh
this.
my god, you need to. It's so good. None of it's in English, but just like it's the cinematography that just makes the movie so good. Like it's brutal. It's rated R.
Yeah,
but we watched that in high school.
I know. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, but it was so good. It was such a good movie. I think it's on Netflix. Or it was. It's on one of the platforms.
Oh, really? What's it called again?
Apocalypto.
Okay. I've heard of it. I need to watch it. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Continue. I'm sorry.
All right. So, basically, while all this is happening, Columbus has already made a promise to the colonists and the people investing into this that they're going to get a bunch of gold from these areas. Jeez. And because of the way that the natives are refusing to give them gold, or simply because they've already taken all of it, he cannot fulfill his promise. And so a little while later, people are like pissed at him, and he's trying to just like get through the complaints and trying to just be like, guys, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was going to happen. I'll make it up to you. All of this. Hey. I know. I'm like, okay, sure. And so pissed off voyagers are returning to Spain. Like, there's just ships coming back, and they don't want to help him anymore because they're like, he's not doing shit. Like, why are we doing this? And so not only does he have rough relationships with the Taino people in general, the ones that are left, but also the people that live in his own area that once considered him to be a hero or like the top explorer, they don't have respect for him anymore. And they don't even know half the shit he's done yet. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, they just know he didn't give them gold like he promised. It's like, oh. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of Europeans who are for, like, taking land and gold and goods, etc. from the natives. But, like, having someone in that great of leadership doing that, it's insane. But yeah, so he has a rough relationship with the native Taino people as they resisted efforts by Spanish to force them into searching for gold. They're like, no, we're not going to help you. Because now they're like, hey, you can help us look for gold. Like, you're our slaves, come on. And they're refusing. They're like, no, we shouldn't have to. And so this word starts to spread a little bit, and people are starting to find out, like, that he's trying to force these people to help out. Yeah. Obviously, they look different, so people are like, who are these people and why are they here? Some of them are completely for it, obviously. And so Columbus returns back to Spain, and he's defending himself from all the complaints. Again, trying to just make himself look good. In 1498, he took 6 ships to search for the Asian mainland south of the area he had already explored. So he's still focused on Asia. He's like, still got to get there.
He's done this. It's been 6 years.
Yeah.
And he's done all of this.
Right. And so during this time, he finds the coast of Venezuela, what is now known as Venezuela. And when he returned to Hispaniola, he gave the land to the settlers, permitted enslaved Taino people to work it. So he's like, hey, I have this land for you. Go there. Oh my God. Do all this. Yeah. Which it always tries to sound like a deal, but it's like, no, they're still slaves. And the complaints are still going around Spain. People are still finding out about who he really is. And so the monarchs even sent the commissioner to investigate, because the commissioner is visiting. And they're like, hey, you need to look into this guy. Like, figure out what's going on. And so once the commissioner heard about his false promises, but also the way that he's like stolen from these people, he immediately arrested Columbus and his brothers and sent them back to Spain for trial.
God.
I know. And so the Columbus brothers, they were released by the king and queen, but not Columbus. Columbus was removed from his position as governor of Hispaniola.
Thank God.
I know, like, that made me really happy researching this. Like, people realized he was a douchebag. Like,
yeah.
like, that made me happy. Like, I was like, because before I researched, I was like, do people, like, know what's going on? But most of them, like, had a clear head about it.
Yeah. Yet there's still a day.
I know! There's still a day where we honor him. Like,
I don't get it.
What?
I'm surprised there's not a day, like, for Queen Elizabeth and Ferdinand for letting it happen. I'm surprised there's not a day for that, but, like, for him, it doesn't make any sense.
No. So in 1502, okay, we're talking, this was, like, 3-4 years after he was arrested. He's still like, okay, still need to find the bulk of Asia. And so now he's released and he sets sail with his son, Ferdinand. Fernando. Isn't his name Fernando? I don't remember. I wrote Ferdinand, but I think his name's Fernando.
It's Fernando.
Okay. Whoops. So he traveled along the coast of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. The two ships beached because of... Oh, sorry. Let me start that sentence over. The two ships were beached because of leaks that they were having, and so they just had to kind of leave them there.
Yeah.
And so the crew was stranded. Like, they're just kind of like,
what a
someone help us! They were stranded for nearly a year before finally being rescued and returning home. Which I think is so funny.
Fucking karma.
Nobody gives a shit. Like, nobody goes looking for him.
They just probably stumbled upon, be like, hey, aren't you that one dude who was in prison?
Yep.
Can I get a ride back? I guess, but you're gonna have to do me a favor.
I know. It's so funny. So Columbus died 2 years after returning to Spain.
Good.
Which was in 1506. And it is still believed that he had found a water route to Asia. But I'm like, I don't know if he really ever did.
He literally died thinking that he was in Asia.
Yeah, this guy. Okay, so I kind of got to a point where I was like, I don't care about him anymore. And I was like, I want to bring light to the Tainos and research them. So that's what I did. So I'm going to give you guys some facts about them because I feel like we will need to respect them, especially like Indigenous People Day. Like, I want to focus on them and not just like Columbus. But so I could go on and on about him, but God, the nerve of people. Okay, and him. Now, we have to remember that in Hispaniola, the Taino tribe had about 3 million or more members. And it is completely wiped out. It was completely wiped out after this. And people have tried to bring it back, but it just hasn't been successful. So the tribe has always been gone. It's really sad. And this was actually a quote from a Taino scholar. His name was Barrerio. And so I wrote this whole quote, and I didn't realize how long it was, and I just kept writing, and I was like, when does it end? But I really like it because it explains, like, who they were. Yeah. And I just don't get how, like, you can walk up to these people and just, like, destroy everything. Especially when he even said himself that, like, they were so kind. Yeah. But, okay, so this is a direct quote from someone who studied them. And it says, the Tainos strove to feed all the people, maintain a spirituality that respected most of their main animal and food sources, as well as the natural forces like climate, season, and weather. They lived respectfully in a bountiful place, so their nature was bountiful. Like, I just love that. Like, they lived respectfully, and then it's like, boom, everything's taken away. And, like, again, Columbus even wrote that they were peaceful. They did not bear arms. And even when Columbus's crew, they took out their swords, the Taino people didn't even know what swords were. Yeah. And so, like, one of them grabbed it and cut themselves on accident because they'd never seen a sword before. Like, it's just insane that, like, you're going to go up to these people who can't defend themselves. And, like, and they're, obviously, it's not the only people that they did that to, but...
They use it as their way to dominate power.
Right. It's crazy. But yeah, so basically the Tainos were indigenous people of the Caribbean and Florida. So that is where they're mostly from. Mm-hmm. They entered the Caribbean from South America, and they had 4 named tribes in different areas. So they had multiple tribes. Mm-hmm. The largest population areas like of their tribes may have contained over 3,000 people each. So they lived together. They loved it. Mm-hmm. They were enemies with the neighboring Carib tribes also, who were also from South America. Mm-hmm. So the people who were from the Caribbean or who lived there first, they were kind of enemies with them.
It's normal.
Which happens.
It's like how Spain is with Portugal. They hated each other.
Yeah. Yep. The Taino tribe was driven to the northeast in the Caribbean and out of South America because of the raids by the Carib. They wanted to overthrow them, so they left. So the Spaniards, they did not bring women in their first expeditions. And so some of them took the Taino women as common law wives, and the sexual violence was huge, which is another thing that I'm just like, anyway. Yeah, so they were used as basically just a tool. Mm-hmm. And the Taino people became nearly extinct because of diseases without immunity, obviously. That was a huge cause. Mm-hmm. And then in 1518, we had the smallpox epidemic that killed 90% of natives.
Yeah.
So in 1548, that is when the native population declined to fewer than 500. And Columbus and his crew were the first to encounter the Tainos. So it just makes me wonder, like, how long they could have lived.
Yeah.
But they were the first ones to just completely destroy their tribe. Mm-hmm. They truly believed to love their neighbor as themselves, and that's what they showed consistently. And Columbus, I'm going to leave you guys with this quote. He said that there were no kinder people than the Tainos. And I don't get it. It's wild.
It's when you're so succumbed to greed, to power, to being, I think he was I wouldn't say that he's a narcissist, but he's more so just, he's very vain in himself, thinking so highly of his accomplishments, as he calls them. Right. But it's like he forgets that it's not only him it's infuriating because all these people wanted to help and just be like, oh, hi, like you're different from me. Like, this is crazy. They were showing it the way that it should have been, with kindness. Exactly. And welcome, like, open arms.
Yeah, that's the thing. They were just welcoming him.
Yeah, but that's just something that Europeans don't know how to do.
Mm-hmm. They're so focused on themselves and the money and, yeah.
Money is everything. It all comes down to currency.
Yeah.
That's what people are obsessed with. Greed.
Right.
Greed is an ugly, ugly look. Mm-hmm. It's awful. It's one of the deadly sins.
It is. I feel like I was very repetitive with it, but, like, I just don't get it. Like, it's crazy. I don't know.
But, yeah, it explodes, and as we see, like, his impact caused a lot of interest from all over the world. Mm-hmm. Like, with what we explained with Roanoke. Yeah. It was very, very heavy of them being influenced by the Spanish to go and explore more of what there could be. Yep. So, what did you learn? Anger.
Pure anger. I think it's important to focus on, like, the people who are affected by it more so than, like, our so-called heroes. Yeah. Like, I just, like, I wanted to research more about him, but I just got to a point where I was just like, I don't want to know anything else about him. Mm-hmm. Like, I've learned enough about him where, like, I'd rather learn about the people that he completely ruined their tribes for, you know? Like, yeah. It's just, I guess the greed is a big lesson.
It's important to know the victims and their story, as well as the villains. Yes. Because you have to understand all of them, you have to look at both perspectives. Right. With And in this one, we're both biased because of just the hatred that we have for him. But there's still so much to learn from him in a sense of just, like, what not to do.
Exactly. Yeah, which is why we want to, like, talk about it, you know?
You can't erase that kind of history. Like, as much as, like, we hate learning about him, like, it's important to learn about him to show that what he did was uncivilized. It was savage.
Yep.
He was the savage.
And I don't think many people, like, realize that side of him.
No, because people will try to make excuses of him. Well, he established a foundation of what we would build to colonize America. But that would... Okay.
Yeah.
If we didn't, we would all be British.
Exactly.
And Spanish.
Yeah.
But it just, like, it is what it is. But, like, it's important to know that what he did was not okay.
Right. Yeah.
And just how brutal it was. Because that's history.
It is. It's important to know.
History is very important. That's why we're Historia. We want to share these.
Boom.
Boom.
We got so serious.
Wow. Welcome to November. It is going to be a very interesting month.
I just realized we could, like, hold these. Hello. Yeah, it is going to be very interesting. We have more episodes coming your way that are kind of geared towards similar topics.
Yeah, since we do, a lot of people celebrate Thanksgiving here, we kind of want to keep it both kind of in Spanish influence because of not the discovery, but just the stumbling upon.
Yes.
North America, Central America, Latin America, all of it. And then kind of just, like, the building off of it. It's kind of... But once we get into, like, December or January, we'll
go back to normal. We'll do random shit.
But it's just, like, this type of history, we all... If you're from the U.S., we've all kind of learned it.
It's been very...
desensitized.
Yes.
It's very... it's been very, like, watered down.
Yes.
So that is our education system here in the U.S.
Yeah, so we're trying to just, like, remind you guys, like, this is the truth.
This is why I couldn't be a teacher.
Well, it's fun.
Thank you for joining us. Where can you find us?
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Historia the Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at HistoriaThePod1. And you can email us at historiathepodcast@gmail.com. For requests, stories, thoughts, anything really.
Cute pictures of your animals.
Yes, send us those Halloween pictures.
Stop playing with your water bowl. Freaking Ruby.
Oh man.
Well, thank you. Have a great rest of your week.
Yes.
And
weekend, a week, whenever you're listening to this.
We'll catch you on the flippity flop.
Go make history. Don't be greedy.
I like that.
Don't be a Columbus.
Don't be a Columbus.
Bye, guys.
Bye.